Hi everyone, Darren Hunter here. In today's age, you can't just have boring photos on your property marketing listings. You've got to have a virtual walkthrough tour. That way tenants can quickly qualify themselves and look through the property even at 2 in the morning online. But I can hear you say, look, Darren, it's too expensive with cameras and takes too long. That's why you've got to go to virtualtourscreator.com.au and check out how you can do walkthrough virtual tours using your mobile phone. Go and check it out. Also, talk to Tom there at virtualtourscreator.com.au on how you can quickly turn your tours into really cheap floor plans as well. Take care.
Okay. Hi everyone, it's Deniz, Yusuf here, and I have got Michael Sanz with me, and we are from Inspired Growth Training, and this is all for our podcast channel, BDM Coach. Michael, how you going, buddy?
Yeah, I'm really good actually. I'm excited about this one.
I am too. It's one that we get asked all the time. Darren has been hounding us for months and months on end to get this one done because it is a hot topic.
Yeah, and it's not so much applicable. Well, it is applicable to property management, but this is also applicable to sales, right? Like we were saying before, I was just having a conversation with someone who's having an issue with a sales member around commission and income. And I think that this topic is really, really, it's always hot on the press, right? I mean,
it is.
Deniz, how much do you pay a BDM? Like, you couldn't find a more rock solid topic than this. And it's going to cause controversy because everyone out there is on some iteration of a payment scheme.
It's an interesting topic. It's like how many properties should a property manager manage, right?
I know.
It's certainly an interesting topic. Every time I get a principal or director or department head ringing me up saying, Deniz, I'm about to employ a BDM. We're going to put them through your training. How much should I pay them? I just shrugged my shoulders at them.
Yeah. And also too, I mean, you mentioned how many should they manage? That's all relevant too, right? If you've got a PM, BDM only managing like 20 properties and they're wanting X amount in income, I mean, fair's fair, right? Like you're running a business. You got to make sure the money goes back to the house.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and that's interesting. I've done some rough, estimates here on what the average income's coming in per property. And Darren, as you know, we are ringing every single agency around the world if we can do it. And we are working out on, what the average income that's coming in and stuff. So I had a conversation with Darren while I was waiting for you. I said, okay, Darren, what's the average, income per property that you're roughly seeing? And he said, Deniz, like, I'm seeing some as low as $1,000 a year, which how are they surviving is beyond me. The average agency is around that $1,500 per year, and it does go up to about $2,000 a year. Now, obviously, we've actually, as we know, Inspired Growth Training, Darren is the master of fee maximization. He has helped people take their properties up and over $3,000 a year per property, which is crazy as well. So if anyone wants some information on, maximizing your fees, and certainly, reach out to Darren through our website, or you can email Darren at igtmail.com and get some information on that. But so 1,500 to 2,000, right, Michael? So let's pretend it's 1,500. I'd rather lower the figure. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, go for it. Yep.
Okay.
Floor's
so
yours.
1,500 a year. So if you were, again, how much do you pay a BDM? Small country town, city, Sydney versus Perth or Tasmania, Launceston, Hobart. You're going to get different minimum wages, right? So let's work on, I don't know, 60,000. Would that be fair to say?
Just say $1,000 a property. Let's just round it down. $1,000.
Round it down to 1,000 a property, and roughly 60,000 would be an income. That'd be okay.
Well, again, you're spot on there. Different areas, different locations.
That's right. So let's just work on a guesstimate of 60, right? Because I just want to show people how they should calculate the average income to work out how we can replace the BDM's wage, right?
You got to remember too, I mean, Victoria, New South Wales, Victoria is typically the lowest. New South Wales is quite low too. And then you've got WA, which, very, very healthy fees that they can charge.
Yeah.
So, and again, an argument, you can be managing less properties in like another state and twice the amount in another state.
So in that case, so if the wage is 80,000, then it's up to the individual business to calculate that they've got to list more properties to cover it. So I think it's just fair to work on a 60, let's say, just for the sake of this scenario that I've worked out. So if it's $60,000, then you'd want to be, and they're bringing in $1,500 per property, then it's quite easy to calculate that they need to list 2.5 properties per month just to cover the wage. But we've got to then think about, okay, there could be, let's say, $500 in bonuses or referral payments that are going out, whether some goes to the BDM or some goes to a referral partner, the sales agent, someone in the office, whatever the case. So, they then have to list roughly four properties a month, right? That's one a week when you're looking at it, okay? One a week, and that replaces, but then you might have superannuation, you've got car allowance, telephone, because you would presume that it's just those things that are any extras that the BDM could cost, unless they're doing an information night and a subscription with us or training. But let's pretend that we're working on the basics here. Roughly 6 properties per month should cover the wage of the $60,000 a year income costing person, the car, the telephone, and some basic materials. It's only 6 properties a month, right? So when you break that down, it's just over 1 property a week. 1.25 properties a week to cover a wage. So, so if you were listing 70 properties a month, you're well in front.
70 a month, then yeah.
Per year, sorry. You're well in front per month, absolutely. So, I'm just trying to explain there how people have got to replace that, replace the wage. Obviously, if you were listing 60 to 70 properties in a year, then there's more income that's actually bringing in, because you've got the capital value that's bringing into the business as well.
Yeah, but I guess so there's 2 sides there. As a business owner, you're mindful of the value of the book, as to how many properties you bring in, but also business owners are mindful of cash flow that comes into the business, which the cash flow is what they can see. It's in hand, it comes in, it's reliable. But the value of the book, they're only going to see that if they refinance it, finance it, or sell it, or get a shareholder to come in there. If you were to bring someone on and they were just doing the minimum, 60 properties a year, then you basically just got a position for them to hold their job, right? As we said before, being a BDM or someone that lists properties, it's a compound role. So yes, if they bring in 60 properties a year, they're holding their job, but you're right, they're just covering their income. And over time, over 3 years, 4 years, that's when you start getting that money back. But there's no significant gain to the business from putting on the business hat. They really should be listing at least double what they're, so instead of 60 a year, there should be 120 a year.
Yep, and that's fair to say, right? That's 10 a month, right? So
which is so doable.
Absolutely, and there's some a lot of BDMs out there that are listing 10 per month. There's some property managers that are doing that much property as well.
So then, on that, if you are listing, so let's say the figure is, 60 properties is kind of covers the wage, 120 properties is going to cover the wage and give the company some money back to do things with. And I guess if you know that you're good at what you do and you're in it for the long term and you got a 3-year plan or a 5-year plan, I guess this is where people start raising the topic of, well, how much am I worth? Am I being compensated for the value that I'm bringing into the office? Should I be compensated for growing the book value? So, if I bring in 100 properties or 200 properties and that brings $500,000 of book value in, should I be entitled to a percentage of that, like an equity stake in that? Which happens, right? I mean, it's a common thing that happens. But I think for any good BDM out there, they're trying to negotiate their pay, they should be looking at their vision over 3, 4, 5 years. Because if you're bringing in 100 to 200 properties a year and you can consistently hit that, and that the company is going to make, a reoccurring $200,000 a year compounding on everything you're bringing in, then surely it raises the question, hey, my base should be X. Some people have mentioned to us in the industry how they want to pay their staff a residual of all the properties that they bring in.
Yeah.
Right. So let's lay it on the table some different ways how you can pay your staff, how to compensate them, what's fair and reasonable, because some people don't have the cash flow to pay them what they understandably are worth.
Yeah.
And that could be because it's a new role and so on. So you've got the base income, right? You're paying someone, what did you say, Dennis, you used a figure of $60,000?
$60,000, yep. Yep, I think 60,000 is a good base figure that, people can work on.
Yeah, and so you would have someone start, and if they're fresh off the bat, and it takes them nothing in the first month, nothing in the second month, 3 in the third month, 4 in the next month, it's a slow burn. That company is not going to see that money come back to them that year. So you need to be prepared as a business that if you're paying someone $60,000 straight off the bat, you're not going to see that back. That's money that is going to go pay into someone, but you're laying foundation. So hopefully you found the right person. If you kind of going through BDM after BDM every 3 months, you are going to go broke very, very fast. So you've got just a base income, no compensation, no commission, on top of that, that lack motivation. Then you've got, I guess, what would be a hybrid where you're paying someone a base plus a commission. This is probably the most common that's out there. And then what commission do you pay them? I mean, there are companies out there that pay 1 week letting fee per door. They pay a percentage of the annual income per door plus the base.
Yep.
And then, as Dennis was saying before, the base, I guess, reflects the volume of commission that BDM is being paid. So if someone was on a high base, you would typically expect a low commission. Low base, high commission.
Yeah, reverse it. That's right. I also like the scaling system, Michael, where, let's say you are, we're talking about replacing that wage. So I'll just take it a step back, which let's say, for keep's sake, it's that 60,000. So, you say to the BDM, no bonuses until you list at least 4 per month, right? And then after that, every 2 properties. So the first 2 properties, they may get paid $100 per property. If they hit 3 to 4 properties, that $100, it turns into $125 per property. So if they've listed 4 properties, okay, that's $600 in bonus, right? It scales up. Then if they hit the 8 and 9 mark, you scale it up, you might give them $200 per property, but that's for all of them. So it all goes up because most BDMs, they're driven by the income as well, the chase, the money, etc. So keep scaling those bonuses upwards, kind of similar to like pyramid sales, right? The more selling you do, the higher your percentage is,
But then we saw that compensation a number of weeks ago. We've seen it a number of times before in other countries also, which is that commission is scaled subject to the percentage that they bring on, and also the letting fee, if it's like half a week, 2 weeks. And the greater and more solid those fees are, the greater the commission is, in addition to hotspot areas. Yeah. When I say hotspot, probably not the right choice of words, but, if the property is well located in an area that the company wants to have like a number of properties in, that is surely worth more to the company. So good fees, good letting fee, good ancillary fees. Yes, it demands a higher compensation package.
Yeah, it's absolutely. I like that scaling system, and I also like the percentage income per property they're bringing in, because that's holding the BDM accountable to getting full fees, not reducing the let fees, because if they do that, that's actually reducing their income. So I have seen a lot of cases, Michael, where they may get 30% of the first 6 months' income that's being generated, for the property as a bonus, but they've got to list over X amount of properties per month to qualify for that. So they might have a minimum 8 properties, and then if they hit the 8 properties, they may get 5%. If they hit 12 properties, they could get 10%, and so on. So there's 2 ways of working on that scale system they could do.
Yeah, yes. I guess too, from a business perspective, from the business owner perspective, you want to make sure that you've got that motivated person that can kind of go out there and hit those targets.
Yep. Well, they're not going to get the bonus unless they hit like a minimum number. Michael, I'm happy to share what I was on. Right? If I live,
I don't. No one wants to cry today, Dennis.
I know, no one wants to cry. I'm the one that's crying when I see what BDMs are getting paid. If I listed 15 properties in a month, I got paid $500 bonus for 15 properties. If I listed 30, which I did on multiple occasions, I did not get $1,000. Right? So I know I was a little bit of a freak, but I do see, as when we go into offices, there might be 10 might be their target, and it just happens to be they hit 10 towards the end of the month, and wow, surprisingly, they list another 5 really quickly at the beginning of the month. And what tends to happen as a BDM, they get to their target, they're happy to stay around there, they make sure they get the target, but there's no incentive to keep going. You've got to keep going. So, and look, I was on a higher wage and a lower bonus structure. I would have been better off having a low wage and $200 a property, and I would have been earning more money. But that's okay. For myself, I had a young child. Madeline was only newborn at the time, so I needed that stability there. And BDM was new as well, right?
Imagine what you could have done if the carrot was bigger.
I know. I know. And it's interesting you brought up that residual income. I did offer my bosses at the time, for every property, 50 cents if it was office generated per month per property I listed, and $1 if it was generated. And that was going to be continued on 5-6 years down the track. So I was trying to find that, but they turned it down and just gave me a higher wage. They would have been better off keeping me on that. And who knows, maybe I would have still been there if I was still collecting that residual. 900 properties could have been an extra $900 per month.
Yeah.
On top of what I was earning. But no, I think I still would have been a trainer.
Yeah, I think so too.
Somehow. So you've got your scale bonuses, your percentage bonuses, and it could be just a flat bonus. 20 properties get X amount of dollars. But you're right, dangling that carrot, you've got to keep it at the top, and not to be unrealistic in obviously with the listings as well. We see properties where where they, at the moment, they're currently getting 2 to 3, maybe 5 a month, and they're expecting to employ a BDM to hit 20 a month straight away.
Yeah, so I think here too. So you got a couple of different types of people that would be listening to this, Dennis. You got the business owner, and then you've got the actual staff member. And I guess both parties need to have a clear perspective in what they're actually asking for, if they are asking for a raise, and when a boss is trying to work out what that fair compensation package is. I think staff members need to be mindful that, yes, they deserve an entitled commission income to perform the duties that they do. And the better you are at something, the better the commission structure should, or the payment should typically be. I think if anyone was going to talk to their employment about what their compensation package should be, you really need to have a clear narrative around, well, firstly, have an understanding about what a property costs to manage each year. So if it is $1,500 a cost to manage each year and you're only bringing in $2,000 a year on that's $500 you're bringing in on that property, you really need the volume, right? You need a number of properties to kind of help. So I think the staff member needs to be aware how much it costs to manage each property. Also, the staff member needs to be aware of how many properties they think they can bring in each month. Now, if you're starting off fresh, it is very, very hard to kind of say, yep, I'm going to bring in 20 or 30 a month. Now, without a target in mind, you're not shooting for anything. So yes, it's important to say this is my target, but you need to have a plan in place on how you're going to get there. How are you going to reach that target? So when you are speaking to the boss, to the manager, say, this is my target. This is how much money the company is going to make from me hitting my target. This is how much commission and base pay that I should be paid to do this. Now, from a boss perspective, we know there's a lot of bosses out there that are just sales only, and they really don't understand the property management department. It's there as an ancillary component to the business. I mean, some pay a lot of attention to it, which is great. But it's a really hard conversation to talk about compensation when you're dealing with an owner of a business that doesn't understand the property management side of it. All they really see is, one, is the money coming in holding the expenses there, and two, what's the value of my book? Can I borrow against it? Right? So from a business owner or a manager, when you are trying to review compensation for staff, you need to really appreciate what is that value that staff member is bringing into the business. And also take into consideration the compounding factor that if you have a really good staff member, a really good BDM, someone's listing properties consistently, yes, the base may be high, but if they're with you for a number of years, you're still generating income on that income, right? It's compounding. We don't need to go in how that works. It is compounding. Further, the book value is going up. Now, I know I said we need to separate the book value from the cash flow coming in, but you need to be mindful that a good staff member that's generating a lot of money for the business needs to be rewarded. Otherwise, they're going to go somewhere else and someone else is going to reward them. I'd much rather have a good person compensated well, working for me than against me.
Yeah.
Then you've got the other things you need to take into consideration. What other ancillary fees can the business be charging to help offset some of that income? Right. I know we won't go into what those fees are. Different states have got different fees. But Dennis, we hear time after time, the staff member has issue conveying to the business owner, why won't they listen to me? Why won't they pay me what I'm worth? And the business owner manager is saying, why won't they listen to me and take what I think they're worth? But we see this week in, week out. No one's really making a clear case as to why they should be worth 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, that 90,000, as a base, and what their commission structure should be.
Yeah,
I think you got to prove it, right? I think that someone that's starting off needs to prove themselves. And I guess some people want to have a high base to start off with and a low commission, and then they might taper that off over 6 months, 9 months, 12 months until they have a low base, high commission.
Well, I mean, for me, in agreement to what you're saying, if you want to have a high base wage, prove yourself, put yourself on a 3-month trial to start with. Prove to your bosses that you can start producing some extra income into the business through growth. And in that case, after 3 months, if you met so much, it brought in extra amount of income into the business, then get a higher wage and then, and scale back those bonuses as well. So as long as you consistently keep it up, but to protect the business owner, if those numbers aren't met, there needs to be something that comes back as well.
Yeah, and I think too, if you are going for an increase in your compensation, your commission, have a plan. You need to demonstrate the value. And what are you doing to demonstrate that value to the business? Are you under coaching? Do you subscribe to online training? I mean, we've got the IGT exclusive membership with over 300 hours of content on there about social media, growth, time management, basically everything that you could ever dream of learning in property management and growth is there.
Just that membership, Michael, they only need to list one property on top of what they're already doing, and it well and truly covers that extra income.
Yeah, and then we have people that we coach and consult with where we're far more accountable with them, and we have actual documents in place that we can kind of track how many listings, leads, conversions they get each and every week, month. And I guess something like that is really powerful, Dennis, when you track your details and your numbers. Then when you go in for that discussion about compensation, you've got it there. This is my activity. This is what I'm doing. I'm bringing in this amount of revenue.
It's like, I was actually helping a property manager only a couple of weeks ago down in Burleigh, Michael. They wanted to talk to their boss about getting a pay rise. So the first questions I started asking him, okay, so why do you think you should deserve a pay rise? What are you doing, et cetera? How many properties are you bringing in? And I said, well, I mean, all you have to do is propose to your boss that if you bring in an extra 2 properties per month, instead of paying out that referral to a sales agent and you bring it on, can you take that? So all you're doing in essence is asking for a bonus for bringing on extra properties, So it's another way of looking at increasing your own wage, is asking for a bonus and having those incentives to want to grow.
Are we going to get a lot of complaints in the next couple of months from business owners saying, hey, my staff member came in and asked me for a raise?
We potentially could, but the advice is given about growing their business, right? So I think they'll be happy in the long run.
Oh, I mean, that's it. From a business owner, you're growing your business. It's compounding income, revenue coming into the business. Of course, it's an easy conversation to have, but I think the BDM, the staff member needs to be prepared with their vision, their plan, how they're going to do this, and be able to ask for help. And I think the business owner needs to give their staff member all the support that they need: training, coaching, events, talking to other people in the industry, networking. Don't be scared that the agency next door to you is also going into the same listing presentations. Talk to them. Build a relationship.
Yep, absolutely. Look, I knew a company that I used to train in New Zealand. What they did is whenever they picked up the management, they used to have a handover appointment. He'd arrange a handover appointment with a rival that he was taking the management off and say, hey, why don't we go grab a coffee while I pick up the files and let's talk about the new legislation changes. So it was his way of getting to know his rivals and networking. What are you doing? What am I doing? Et cetera, And
getting a free coffee while he's at it.
Beg your pardon?
And getting a free coffee while he's at
it. And the management at the same time. But it was about building the network. I mean, as much as that we work for different companies, be friends with who you're working up against. Yes, that's that competitive spirit in the day. But at the end of the day, we are all humans. We are all allowed to network and catch up, just like sales agents do. Property managers and BDMs can do the same thing.
100%. Well, look, it's been good to chat with you about compensation, and it's such a hot topic, right? And I wish we could talk exact figures, but because we're dealing with different states and countries,
it makes it difficult.
But we're happy to have that conversation with people to give them some more guidance.
Yeah. Like we started at the beginning, you've really got to look at what your average income is per property. Look at what it costs to replace a BDM and, have those right incentives in place, whether it's percentage based of annual income or first 6 months, however you look at it, a scale bonus structure as well, or a flat fee per property, or you could do the old fashioned, if you hit X amount of properties at the end of the month, we'll pay you, So, there's a few different options of ways of doing it. But look, I mean, we could talk about this for ages. We could talk about it for a long time. Sales as well, incentives and referral processes to put in place and incentives for strategic alliances. And, there's a lot that you can look at to do. Look, and we've obviously got some loads of information on our website that people can have a look at. And we've also got the free book, Michael. We have a free book of strategies. If anyone wants to go to the pmleadsecrets.com website, you can order your free copy of the book. The only thing you have to pay for is the shipping. I think it's roughly $9.95 for shipping around Australia at the moment. Obviously a little bit extra for overseas, but it's a free book. It's all the strategies that it took me hours and hours and hours to write this book and put it together. But there's good strategies there. If you are thinking about hiring a BDM, that is a great book to look at purchasing to get the ball rolling as well.
So I guess what you're saying is buy the book. Buy the postage.
Well, buy the postage. The book's free.
The postage.
Darren sold me for free. Dennis, I want you to write a book. This is the book you're going to write. Okay, how much are you going to sell it for? Nothing. Great incentive. Darren's the trainer that trains us all on worth, and he gives me away for free. It's all good. And Darren, he's a machine. He certainly drives us to to new levels in our coaching and training, and that's what you should be doing for your BDM, is driving them, holding them accountable for their growth within your business as well.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Well, Dennis, good to chat to you today, as always.
Yeah, you too, Michael. And everyone, if you would like to reach out to us, you can contact us directly, through our social media channels. You could go to our IGT Facebook page as well. And don't forget to even subscribe to our newsletters. But on the Facebook page, I should say, we've got our IGT Inner Circle, where a lot of referral business, Michael. There's like 5 new referrals going amongst the 2,500 people that are in our group. BDMs, they're on their phone doing their calls, and their landlord's got a property in another area. There's a lot of people asking for who manages in this area. So the IGT Inner Circle, make sure you answer those questions, or the gatekeeper won't let you in. So again, Michael, thank you everyone for listening to the BDM Coach Podcast show.
Until next time, thank you.
Take care.